Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we do another deep dive into Netflix. And let's get to the list.
May it rest in peace.
The Fall of the House of Usher is a 2023 gothic drama horror miniseries. Created by Mike Flanagan and is loosely based on the short story of the same name and other works by Edgar Allan Poe. It stars Bruce Greenwood, Carla Gugino, Mary McDonnell, and Mark Hamill. To secure their fortune, two ruthless siblings build a family dynasty that begins to crumble when their heirs begin to die mysteriously one by one.
Who are you? Consequence. And tonight is consequential.
I'm a huge fan of Mike Flanagan, especially his series on Netflix. They've been just brilliant. I enjoyed some of them more than others, but even the ones that weren't my favorite were still damn good. And in my opinion, this one falls somewhere in the middle. But that being said, it is still a really entertaining series. The cast is brilliant, the storytelling, all the characters. It is very different than a lot of his other series. This one has a much different feel overall to it because you're not really meant to like any of the characters in this. Whereas in other ones of his series, it's the opposite. You know, you're meant to really care about each one of them individually. Whereas in this, you're kind of ready and wanting to see them die in different crazy ways. And that's what makes it a lot of fun. But at its core, it's still some fantastic storytelling that takes you in a really wild direction. I think this is another can't miss by Mike Flanagan. So if you've yet to see this, get on it and check it out. Malignant is a 2021 mystery crime horror movie, directed by James Wan with a screenplay by Akela Cooper. It stars Annabelle Wallis, Maddie Hassan, and George Young. A woman begins to have visions of people being murdered, only to realize the events are happening in real life.
I'm seeing things. I'm seeing murders as they're happening.
I'm sure that the majority of you out there have seen this movie and have made up your mind one way or the other. You either love it like I do or can't stand it and think it's the dumbest movie ever made. But when I saw that it was on Netflix, I had to talk about it because I just love this movie and I really love the fact that it's on a bigger platform like Netflix so that hopefully more people will see it. Because this movie is not like anything else. It's funny, it's charming, it has weird twists and turns, it's a throwback in so many ways to the late 90s, early 2000s, especially to those Dark Castle movies. And those movies weren't good in your normal sense, but there's something really charming and fun and entertaining about them, even though there is a campiness to them. This is also a tribute to Giallo, and Juan is known as being a big fan of Giallo film. But this is incredibly well shot. The different special effects and the way they were able to pull off a lot of these shots is really fascinating. But it's just not a movie to take serious at all. This is something to just simply have fun with. But I think it's a blast and one that I highly recommend. Silent Hill is a 2006 supernatural horror movie, directed by Christoph Gans and based on the video game series of the same name by Konami. It stars Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, and Laura Holden. A woman goes in search of her daughter within the confines of a strange, desolate town called Silent Hill. I know this isn't a perfect movie. I understand that some people can poke holes in it and this and that, but for what it is, I think it's really entertaining because in my opinion, it really captures the game of Silent Hill. Now, could it be done better? Sure. I'm not saying that it couldn't, but On the budget that this was working with, it does a really good job of it because it gets creepy and disturbing and uncomfortable. The visuals are fantastic. The acting, I think, is pretty solid. And I especially loved it back when it came out. At this point, it is dated a little and it does need an update. But good news, they're doing a reboot of sorts. Christoph Gans, who also directed this, is doing a new movie called Return to Silent Hill that's coming out sometime in the spring. And it's supposed to be a soft reboot. It's not exactly a sequel to this, so I'm not sure exactly what that means or what it's going to do exactly. It's supposed to be based more on the second video game than it is on the first one. So I think it's a great time to rewatch this and get primed up for that release this spring. I See You is a 2019 mystery horror thriller. Directed by Adam Randall, it stars Helen Hunt, John Tenney, and Judah Lewis. Strange occurrences plague a small-town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a 12-year-old boy.
Justin Witter, 10 years old. Went missing on a bike ride last night near Troubadour Park. Park ranger found the bike. No boy.
This is one I've recommended in the past before, but I just feel like I can never recommend it enough because if you haven't seen this and you don't know the twist in it, it's just a treat. Because it's one of those movies that goes along being one way and then completely takes a big left turn and changes totally what's going on. But it's well shot with a great cast, the cinematography looks great, the storytelling, the characters, it's just well put together in every way. So if you're looking for a psychological thriller, this is a fantastic pick.
I cannot see it, even as I look right at it.
I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House is a 2016 gothic supernatural horror movie, written and directed by Osgood Perkins. It stars Ruth Wilson, Bob Balaban, and Paula Prentice. The story is about a woman who works as a live-in nurse and begins to suspect that her elderly employer's house may be haunted.
I am 28 years old. I will never be 29.
This is an artistic, slow burn, very beautifully done movie. But with that being said, it's one that's definitely not for everyone. It's kind of an acquired taste type of movie that just kind of slowly builds the tension and the dread and the anxiety as it goes along. But it's very gothic and it feels beautiful and elegant in that way as well. It feels almost like poetry in the way that it unfolds. I think it's really compelling in the way that it's done. And if that at all sounds interesting to you, then definitely check it out. Hellhole is a 2022 Polish horror movie directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski. It stars Piotr Zalewski, Olaf Labrzinko, and Sebastian Stanisław. In 1987 Poland, a police officer investigating mysterious disappearances infiltrates a remote monastery and discovers a dark truth about its clergy. This is a gritty, dark, atmospheric little movie. And for a lot of it, it's not gonna feel like it's doing anything you haven't really seen before, because it does borrow from a lot of other religious horror movies and just in general kind of has a real similar feel about it. But then as it goes along, it starts to take some interesting turns and becomes more and more unique as it goes along, until the final act when it really goes off the rails and does some things and gives you some imagery that'll just stick with you. It really is one of those films that builds into this crescendo, and I think the final act and even really the final couple minutes of it are really what gives it that impact and makes it absolutely worth seeing. So just go into it with an open mind, let it do its thing, don't expect it to be anything that it's not, and just enjoy it for what it is, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
lost everyone.
This really is an enjoyable, just fun, entertaining kind of movie. It's a movie that's almost like, and it's a real shame because it's kind of been forgotten. It came out in 2020, and you know what happened that year, and a lot of projects like this just kind of disappeared. They just got overlooked and just faded away. It has a lot of charm to it, while still keeping you on the edge of your seat, and I think it's one you absolutely should add to your list.
This is your destiny.
Snowpiercer is a 2013 post-apocalyptic sci-fi thriller. Directed by Bong Joon-ho, it stars Chris Evans, Tilda Swinton, and Ed Harris. In a future where a failed climate change experiment has killed all life except for the survivors who boarded the Snowpiercer, a train that travels around the globe, and a new class system emerges.
This is your world. The train saved humanity.
The engine lasts forever. The population must always be kept in balance.
This is one of the more creative post-apocalyptic movies I've ever seen. And the series that they made, from what I hear, is really good. I have yet to check it out, but I've heard it's really well done. But this is such a layered story, and it's creative on so many levels. I mean, we know now that Bong Joon-ho is like just a phenomenal filmmaker, and so it's no surprise how well put together this is. But the cast is incredible, the story, the different layers of emotion that it takes you on, as well as just creative special effects. It really is like a visionary kind of movie. And so if you've never seen this, this should be the next thing that you watch. Nightbooks is a 2021 dark fantasy thriller directed by David Yarovesky and is based on the 2018 horror fantasy children's book of the same name by J.A. White. It stars Winslow Fegley, Lydia Jewett, and Kristen Ritter. Alex, a boy obsessed with scary stories, is imprisoned by an evil young witch in her contemporary New York City apartment.
It travels all over the world and has room to hold anything. What's that?
So how this is flown under the radar blows my mind. I just don't understand. I don't know why there wasn't more buzz about this, because with something like this on Netflix where the vast majority of people could see it, I thought it was going to blow up and it was going to have a ton of buzz. Because yeah, this is angled towards younger, you know, preteens, teens, whatever. But as an adult, I still found it to be amazing. Just the way that it's shot, it's very magical and it feels like a dark fairy tale, but in a really contemporary new way of doing it. And it does some things creatively, artistically, that are really fun to look at. Just the visuals, the colors that he uses, the lights, it just takes you into this magical world that I think is so much fun. So if you're looking for something that's not too dark, that's kind of lighthearted, and that you could probably watch with your kids, I think this is a phenomenal pick. No One Gets Out Alive is a 2021 British horror movie. Directed by Santiago Magini from a screenplay by John Croker. It stars Christina Rodlow and Mark Menchaca. Desperate and without documentation, a woman from Mexico moves into a rundown Cleveland boarding house. Then unsettling cries and eerie visions begin.
What have you seen? There's something wrong with this place.
This is a moody, creepy, really well done supernatural kind of movie. It just has a lot of layers to it, just the way that it looks. It very much has that feel of a haunted house, but it's in a unique kind of situation because it's in this big boarding house and there's different rooms and, without spoiling anything, different things that are going on in each of these rooms. And it does a really good job of showing the main character break down because she starts to question herself and little by little she starts to think she's losing her mind. But it gets really eerie and uncomfortable with some imagery and things along the way that are really unique. And the end of this movie in general, the special effects that are done, and just the thing the thing that's in this movie, I think, is really creative and a lot of fun. But Christina Rodlow is fantastic in it, and it really is a good time, and one that I think is perfect for your Saturday night. So do yourself a favor this weekend, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. And if you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week. And I also want to give a huge, massive thank you to my Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys absolutely mean the world to me. And if you would like to find out how you can help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about my 10 favorite non-horror movies from 2023. And I'll see you guys next time.